It's Manchester Trans Pride Day. I got my little pins, my flag in my backpack, and we are ready to go. I've also got my little froggy shirt. Support trans youth. Let's go. My flag does not want to stay in an actual reasonable position. It's flying away.
When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Trans rights! When do we want it? Now! They! Them! They! Them! Who is that?
We're moving. It's happening. It's so windy.
It's very windy. It's blowing my side.
Go!
Trans Pride!
It be like trans.
This way round's a lot less interesting. It's just my face. This is a better view. Although all the signs are pointed the other way, so you can't really get that good photos.
Now! What do we want? Trans rights! When do we want them? Now! What do we want? Trans rights! When do we want them? Now! What do we want? Trans rights! When do we want them? Now! What do we want? Trans rights! When do we want them? Trans rights!
Around. Lad. Lad. There's a trans doggo. It's a trans doggo.
Trans rights! Now! Trans rights! Now! Trans rights! Now!
Asshole. Why does there have to be so many tall people in front of me? So unlocked.
Oh my god.
The new vlog angle. Yay. Hey, where was this when it was raining? It's so far Slow, Theo.
Whoa.
Whoa. So many people.
Transphobia no more!
5, 6, 7, 8.
Fuck the Tories, fuck the state!
1, 2, 3, 4.
Transphobia no more!
5, 6, 7, 8.
Fuck the Tories, fuck the state!
1, 2, 3. Breaking Sunak, we know you. Greta Prevalent, we know you.
Hello, hello, 1, 2, 1, 2! What do we want? equality. What do we want? Trans rights. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? Trans rights. When do we want it? Now.
Ready?
I'm just gonna do nothing.
Fine. The card game. Is it my turn? I have nothing interesting.
Okay, I'm eating a sandwich.
No!
No.
They have a diffuse.
No, he's got a defuse. He's got a defuse.
Bam. Go on, Theo.
And I'm out. I am
Oh no! The camera's bad luck. Oh sevens.
If I am blocked by anybody here, but yeah, let's go.
Fine.
So we, as in Trans Pride Manchester, just wanted to start off by saying thank you so much for coming. And I stand here like on the verge of tears, very, very much. And we have an overwhelming sense of gratitude and pride as we are like there's so many people here. And so thank you so much for making history for Manchester's first ever Trans Pride.
I was going to say style, fashion, so wearing clothes that feel really gender affirming. We had a bit of a conversation about this, but I just love wearing shorts and a hoodie and running around. You know, like I'm such a tomboy growing up, and I think that I then went inwards a little bit, feminized myself in order to be a bit more digestible, and then found somewhere in the androgyny a place where I sit, and there's so much trans joy in that. I don't think that there is one kind of expression as to, you know, you can't look at somebody and know that they're trans. There are stereotypes, and gaydars may be strong, but expression is open, and I think that growing up queer, mixed heritage, having, as we all do, so many intersectional identities, fashion and the way that we present and choose to present ourselves is really important, and it's a beautiful way to be able to do it. So that brings me a lot of trans joy.
I was going to say a similar thing, but for me, I've gone through a massive journey recently where I've really fell back into loving being feminine, but it's on my terms, and it feels like it is the most joyful I've felt, and it's the most euphoric I've felt in clothing, but it feels like I'm just wearing clothes. It doesn't feel like I'm walking into the woman's section of a clothing store and picking something up. I'm picking up like a piece of fabric that feels good on my body, and I look at myself and I feel the most like myself, and the most like myself since realizing I am non-binary, and I felt like I ran headfirst into I must be androgynous, I must be masked, and whilst those things are completely valid, I felt like I was putting on a performance. And now I feel like I look at my wardrobe and I'm like, okay, I'm going to put something on that brings me joy, it makes me feel like myself. And it is I do just put something on and I run around and I'm like, this is me, and it feels great, and that is joy to me, whether it's a dress or a waistcoat or both.
It doesn't mean within our queer community where people are coming at us and I just fuck them up. And just kind of say, actually I'm going to call your shit out and I'm going to put you on blast, so then don't fuck with me and don't fuck with people that I love, because it's just not going to happen. And at first that used to get me so tired and exhausted to put that energy in and think, God, I'm fighting this thing, I'm fighting that thing. But then I always say to myself that if the fight becomes all we do, then we're not actually enjoying the joy that we're fighting for. I always say, trans people are very happy, we just don't like it when you fuck with our happiness. So just don't try it. And we're no longer gonna sit back and say nothing, because actually we're stronger than you could ever expect. And when we do call you out on that stuff, it's funny how you all retreat. And I'll be calling them people out later on my Instagram when I see people going trans rights are human rights, but you don't fucking show up to a march, do you? So it's going to be like, that's going to bring me so much joy to see you all square. So that's me.
Of gender and sexuality, and first kind of clinging onto the label of lesbian and finding some comfort in that and thinking, you know, that's my community, and then realising that just didn't align with who I was, changed over the years. Just really rejecting the binary of what's expected. I think I always kind of grew up quite genderless. My mum kind of always ingrained into me and my sister that, you know, you can do whatever you want to do, and I think she came at it from like a very, you know, I'm an independent woman perspective, and then I'm an independent person, and that's where it kind of fell down. And then I ended up
coming onto my campaign, which started because the government were trying to out trans students in schools and make teachers out kids to their parents. I had to see that in real time. I saw kids come to me in fear that their parents would find out that they were trans. And I ran an LGBTQ+ club, and in that club they would ask me questions. And at one point we had to have a therapist or a on-site counsellor with us because the safeguarding team was so concerned that kids were coming out as trans to me. And I was just saying to them, because they're coming out as trans to me because they see themselves in me. They've never seen a trans adult in the flesh before, especially in a space where they're learning and growing. And I guess what I'm coming to is that trans people need to be in spaces where there are children, so then children can see themselves. They can see that trans kids do grow up and they become adults and they can thrive. They're not just existing online, or they're not in these horrible news headlines. They're not dying. They can thrive, and that's what trans kids deserve.
So the next question is directed at you, Ella, and is kind of open. So you are the star, and then we will be your backing singers, dancers, whatever we decide to do. But so studies have shown there's obviously a huge overlap. I mean, as we all sit here today with being queer and or trans with neurodiversity, you are obviously a very big advocate of both, which is great, but also can be very tiring. So how have you found these experiences have represented themselves in your day-to-day life, and were there any challenges you found around this? Obviously, I have a touch of autism, and I think it's like, oh, well, I am trans, and I have this, and I have this. I'm like, well, which one am I picking and choosing to tell this person today that I have wrong with me? Which, you know, is the wrong way to think, but we probably all had very similar experiences about that. Do you want to share, if you were comfortable?
I think what I've realised is that so much of my transness and so much of my queerness and so much of being a neurodivergent person have navigated the world in very similar ways and have been told the same things. Like, being a queer person, being autistic, oh, you just need curing. Oh, that's because you weren't raised properly. Oh, that's like, you're just making it up, it's in your head. And I've heard the same things said about both things. And I feel like they navigate the world in very, very similar ways. And sometimes I find it difficult to see the two things as separate things often, because am I struggling to navigate a situation because I struggle with communication, or is it because I'm in a space where I don't feel like myself, because I feel like I'm going to be judged for being a queer person? Which one is it? Or is it both? Because they intersect so much, I feel, in my mind. And I think, I don't know what the statistic is, but there's a huge proportion of trans people who are autistic. And it's also a massive issue when it comes to healthcare, because a lot of the time trans people are invalidated because they are autistic. You're not trans, you just don't understand yourself because you're autistic, where I actually feel like being an autistic person and understanding my autism is actually the reason why I understand the fact that I am a trans person. It's the reason that I am where I am today, because when I figured out I was autistic, it led to unmasking, and it meant that I discovered so much about my identity because I was unmasking a huge part of myself that wasn't just my autism, because it is my full brain. And I think, again, it's so difficult to see the two things as separate things, and I think because I'm autistic, I don't see social constructs in the way that other people do. I deconstruct them in my mind, like, what is gender? Who the fuck knows? And that's because I'm autistic, so therefore I I feel like I can grasp the fact that I'm a trans person in such a unique way that feels so right to me. And I think it's another reason why I think I'm like, a dress isn't a dress, it's just a piece of fabric that I wrap around my body, because it's like, it is a construct that we've given fashion a gender. And I think that's another beautiful thing about being autistic. Whilst it is a disability and I find it disabling, it has also allowed me to see the world in such a rich way.
The gravity of the memory lifts and I return to my present self. I rub my eyes and they drift to the mirror on the shelf. I see the girl I just described to you staring back at me, and I realise this is the first time I have seen her properly. I smile and say it gets better. I tell her she is lovable, oh so fucking lovable, and that nowadays she goes by they and that no one gives them trouble. I walk with my head high, shoulders strong, wearing boxers and a tee, not a bra or a thong. I put myself first, slowly accepting that this shell is a blessing, not a curse.
There you go, darling. Go. There you go.
So yeah, that was my experience at Manchester Trans Pride 2023. Obviously, there was a lot more to the day than what I filmed. I filmed a very minuscule amount of it because I was hanging out with new people, which I want to say thank you to Theo and all of his friends for letting me hang out with them for the entire day and for keeping me safe and taking me along with them, because it's really appreciated. Otherwise, I would have just spent the entirety of Pride with my parents, which is a little bit sad. But yeah, they're amazing. I am so grateful for that. But yeah, what we basically did after the main thing was we just walked around Manchester and had a good time. We looked at some of the workshops they were putting on and stuff like that. And Theo walked me back to the train station literally just in time to grab my train. It was this close. But it was an amazing day. I enjoyed it so much and I cannot wait to go to more Pride events. I will definitely be going back to Manchester Trans Pride any year that they do it, and I do recommend it. It was really good. The organisers are amazing. I've been following them for a while. Their social medias are, I will link below, but it's run by the people at Splash Creative as well. Which are amazing, and they do a lot of talks about like trans stuff online, and it's like you can ask them questions if you have anything you want to say to them. And yeah, I had such an amazing time. But if you're here and you don't know who Theo is, which I think quite a lot of our audience overlaps, so it might not be many of you, but I will link Theo's things down below, and there'll be a little card, probably that side, I don't know, drop down to a video or something. But yeah, it was amazing. Trans rights are human rights. I'll see you guys next week. Bye.